Hello, my name is Julius, and thank you for watching episode 52 of Applicable Applications. Also part 2 of me testing out Tiny10 to see how it performs. Now, in the last episode and part 1 of this episode, I mentioned that I would be testing out Tiny10 to see how well it performs. And the first thing I did to test it out was run a speed test. I used Ookla speed test, and I started off by using their web browser application. I managed to get a 508 download speed and a 302 upload speed. Then I went ahead and used their desktop application, and I managed to get a 627 download speed and a 289 upload speed. Now, after this, I went ahead and used Windows Performance Monitor, and this is something that's built into Windows. All you have to do is just press the Windows key and type in Performance Monitor, and it should show up for you. Now, long story short, I ran the performance test and it came out fine. Tiny10 was working great, nothing was wrong. And I also want to mention that I ran this performance test after doing some gaming. And speaking of gaming, I went ahead and had a gaming session on Tiny10, and I will say it was fun. I enjoyed it and it went well. I started off the gaming session by playing some Brawlhalla. Then I decided to see if Tiny10 could handle something a bit more fast-paced, so I went ahead and booted up Ultra Kill. Now, I was planning on ending that gaming session by playing some Valorant in CS2. Or let me rephrase that. I did end my gaming session playing Valorant in CS2, but the reason why I don't have any footage is because I used OBS Studios to record this gaming footage. Now you might be asking what's wrong with OBS Studios. And nothing's wrong. It runs completely fine on Tiny10. But the problem is that when I try to record Valorant, CS2, even Apex Legends, it just became very laggy, very choppy. It was, in some cases, even just unplayable. CS2, I would press a key and it would happen like 3 or 4 seconds later. And then Apex Legends, once I hit, start to go into a match, it just shut down. Apex Legends shut down on me. Now, I will say I am using a 2015 MacBook Pro, and I will have all the specs in the description below if you want to take a look at it and see what's going on. But one thing I do want to mention before I move on is that on this MacBook Pro, I have 1 terabyte of storage, and 489 gigabytes of that storage is going to Tiny10. So Tiny10 is, using what it's got, and this isn't to say that it doesn't work, but doing some, using high intensive applications together, you can run into some problems. So I just want to put that out there for anybody who does end up trying to do something like this on maybe a lower end PC. Just keep that in mind. Now, even though I wasn't able to record a gaming session, I do want to tell you guys about an app that I did use during that gaming session that really did help boost my FPS and made the game a little bit more enjoyable, and this is Hone.gg. Now, Hone.gg is an application that you can download that allows you to optimize your Windows device for gaming. It gives you access to all these features on your Windows device, and you have the ability to do things like disable the Windows game bar, disable hibernation, optimize your mouse, and so much more. But I do want to mention that you should take caution when using some of these features, because while Hone does give you the ability to use all these features, you should be careful with which ones you use. Some of these features can be game breaking, some of these features are in beta, some of these features also just eat up your battery really quickly. And not to mention that these features, it's not just one or the other. Both these features can be both. So it can be both, breaking to your laptop and power hungry, or it can be in beta and take a lot of power. It can be in beta and potentially, harm your PC. So definitely take a look at what, features you're trying to turn on, what features you're trying to optimize before you do that. Go ahead and read it, because you don't want to end up breaking your PC. Because the whole point of getting Tiny10 is to extend the life of that PC or laptop so you can use it more, and you don't want to just go breaking it. And Hone does give you a description of what every switch and every optimizing feature does, so do make sure to read that before you use it. But the feature that I really want you guys to look at is its game settings. Now, what Hone's game settings are is it essentially allows you to activate specific optimizations for specific games. So in my example, Valorant, I can turn on specifically optimized settings to help boost my gameplay in Valorant or CS2 or Apex Legends. And Hone.gg is used by professional esports players as well. So going back to Valorant, Hone is used by professional players like PaperX is Forsaken.
Good for PaperX. You might think this is an eagle, but it's not. The weaker weapon of Forsaken, good for 2. Maybe more to be found, but nobody low. He's 90 HP, fighting another 3. For Forsaken, an ace.
PaperX is something.
But EDG calling a pause after that, and then you can understand why. This is just one man finding all the space in the world, despite some decent plays for them to try and break their way back through. I think the harassment from Divide played a big role as well.
Sentinel's 10s.
10s and Zekken locking down this position. And it kicks off with an ace here. So well done. Swings onto Benji, just catches him sleeping.
Sentinel's Zekken.
The angle flash repeat, no, not through main! Adjustment necessary, and Zekken comes up with the goods and more!
And Sentinel's Sassy.
From Sassy, last one left. Been granted one extra, gets the one back. They're gonna make mistakes. They don't think he's there on the angle in time. He's caught himself into the 1 versus 2. Oh, slow line here for Setapp, but he doesn't really find a time to use it, but the dart reveals all. Sassy have to pull off an absolute miracle. 5 HP drop down, backing away. Now wide and sprayed them through. Sassy.
And not to mention, not only is this used by pro players, you can also copy and apply their settings to your device as well. So if you go ahead and look at these pro players, you'll have the ability to view their settings, and it'll show you all the settings they have. Like, let's say you want to look at 10 settings or Forsaken settings, you can look at them, and you have the ability to apply those to your PC as well, which is a really cool feature, and also just like a really awesome one as well, because if maybe you're trying to see if you can gain like more of an advantage in your gameplay, or you just want to see how you can make your PC more optimized when you're going into things like ranked matches or competitive matches, by copying these professional player settings, this might help you reach that next ranked. But, if you're just a casual gamer and you don't really care too much about rank or ranking up or reaching the top of the leaderboard, then just going ahead and turning on the optimized settings is completely fine for you. And not to mention, if you're like me and you're using an older laptop and not even the full, the maximum amount of space, you can run Hone and your game at the same time without running into, any, lag or just unplayability as well. So it's completely fine, completely easy to use, and can potentially help you in your gameplay. But before I end this video, I do want to mention one important thing. And that important thing is the missing applications. Now, as I mentioned before, Tiny10 is a stripped down, lightweight version of Windows. And to, you know, make Windows 10 more lightweight, it had to remove some apps from Windows. And some of those things are, you know, the music player on Windows. It removed the maps on Windows. Then again, I don't know if anyone used the maps on Windows. I didn't even know it had a maps until I went and checked it out. But maps is gone. Your media player is gone as well. And I noticed this when I was trying to grab my footage. When I was, you know, when I wanted to check out my footage to see how it was, I couldn't. And that was because I didn't have a media player. So I couldn't open up my MP4 files, MP3 files, you know, check it out, see if it was good. I couldn't do that because I don't have that. Some other things, you don't have your mail. The 365 Office isn't there either. And, you know, just some of these other features, you know, kind of missing. Now, you're not missing anything that's like really important and is necessary for Windows to run. But for example, some of these default apps that you would use or that you're just kind of used to being there, they're gone. Another example, Windows Game Bar. When I was looking for something to record my gameplay footage, I'm kind of used to using Windows Game Bar. You just press Windows G, it pops up, start recording, and there you go. But Windows Game Bar was removed on Tiny10, but OBS was fine. It worked for Brawlhalla and Ultra Kill. But for those higher FPS games, I mean, if you have, you know, a better PC, a little bit better PC, then it shouldn't be a problem. But for me, you know, I did run into an issue. So just keep that in mind. You know, there are going to be some things missing, and I will go ahead and just somewhere on this screen put a list of some of the other apps that are missing. But other than that, I mean, Tiny10, it's really useful, really fun, and it honestly, it gives me the ability to show you guys not just Mac apps, but also Windows apps, because now that I have the ability to use Windows on my laptop, I now have the ability to check out Windows apps as well, which is a real big game changer for me. And for some of you guys are wondering, but how are you going to, you know, use Tiny10 if you're missing your, you know, your media player or your audio player or your video player? What are you going to do? Well, good thing is I used to have the ability to download and open, you know, .exe files. So I can just download, you know, a media player off the internet, an audio player off the internet, and I'll be good to go. And also, I never really use the mail on Windows. I use Gmail, so I'll be completely fine with that not being there. But, and this will be the last but the one biggest thing that is missing that might be a problem for anyone who wants to use Tiny10 is that the Microsoft Store is not there. When you open up Tiny10, you'll see that the Microsoft Store is missing. And this can be a problem because some users, you know, you download some apps off the Microsoft Store, and not to mention some applications are only available on the Microsoft Store. But I do have a fix for you guys. So at first, when I wanted to download, for example, EarTrumpet onto my Windows device, I mentioned EarTrumpet before on this channel, and I'll leave a link to that video in the description below. But when I wanted to download EarTrumpet, I couldn't, because it said that I could get it from, you know, the Microsoft Store, but I didn't have it. So I had to do a little bit of searching, and there is a way to work around it. And I'll also leave a link to this webpage that I found in the description below. But essentially what you do is you'll go into your terminal or the admin terminal, and you'll paste this line of code in that terminal, press enter, and restart your computer. Now, on Tiny10, it's not going to bring back the Microsoft Store, but what it does is it allows you to download applications from the Microsoft Store. So for example, in my case, EarTrumpet. Now, while I don't have the Microsoft Store to download it, when I open up the Microsoft Store in, for example, a web browser, I'll see the ability to download the file. And it'll give me the exe option, which is really great because, you know, some features, you know, you want to use, but you can't because Microsoft Store is missing. Well, by doing this, you might not have the Microsoft Store back on your Windows device, but you do have the ability to just download it onto your PC from there. So that's a little workaround. And if that doesn't really bother you, then I would say go ahead and use Tiny10. You know, it's great. I enjoyed it. I love it. And I think it is a great option for anybody who wants to use a Windows laptop or who wants to extend the life of their, just any device, because, you can install Tiny10 on any device, MacBook, old PC, old laptop, whatever. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching episode 52 of Applicable Applications. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends and family, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.